This is fifth canto, chapter 18, and I believe you will start reading from text 10 onwards. Let's start. My dear Lord, we pray that we may never feel attention for the prison of family life, consisting of home, wife, children, friends, bank balance, relatives, and so on. If we do have some attachments, let it be for devotees whose only dear friend is Krishna. A person who is actually self-realized and who has controlled his mind is perfectly satisfied with the bare necessities of life. He does not try to gratify his senses. Such a person quickly advances in Krishna consciousness, whereas others attached to material things find it very difficult. When Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was requested to explain the duty of a Vaishnava, Krishna conscious person, he immediately said, Asatsangatyage Vaishnavacha. The first business of a Vaishnava is to give up the association of persons who are not devotees of Krishna and who are too attached to material things. Wife, children, bank balance, and so on. Prahlad Maharaj also prays to the personality of Godhead that he may avoid the association of non-devotees attached to the materialistic way of life. If he must be attached to someone, he prays to be attached only to a devotee. A devotee is not interested in unnecessarily increasing the demands of the senses for sense gratification. Of course, as long as one is in the material world, one must have a material body and it must be maintained for executing devotional service. The body can be maintained very easily by eating Krishna Prasad. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9:26, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yogi Bhaktiyam Vimsati Tadaham Bhakti Parinam Vashnami Prayatatmanam. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Why should the menu be unnecessarily increased? For the satisfaction of that tongue. Devotee should eat as simply as possible. Otherwise, attachment for material things will gradually increase, and the senses being very strong will soon require more and more material enjoyment. Then the real business of life to advance in Krishna consciousness will soon. We are reading national anthem of Teddy West, prayers of Prahlad. Hare Krishna. Okay, is there a problem with the voice? I don't think I can do much. Hare Krishna. Everything seems to be proper. So I don't think I can do anything much about voice. Shri Prahlad Maharaj is describing here how when the senses get attached to the sense objects, when a person allows oneself to be affected by or allows oneself to experience sense gratification, then that obscures the prime goal of human being. We are understanding it from the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. That human life is short and very sensitive. Even a little bit of distraction can fail us in our prime purpose of human life. So it is not that in life we can keep doing anything and everything. We can take any decision and every decision and still expect that we will reach the spiritual world at the end of the life. That is not so. The Shastras explain that even a slight distraction can fail us. What to say of a profile when one is planning distraction as a key ingredient? Bharat Maharaj never planned a distraction, but that distraction failed him in his prime purpose. So when distraction is not planned and desired for, then the distraction is so deadly and lethal. What to say when we plan and aim and cherish and relish the distractions? Very, very risky. And therefore, we can see that the emphasis of the Shastras is to be extra cautious on the side of material sense gratification. It is better to be a material failure and spiritual success than a material success and spiritual failure. So the ambition to prove oneself to be a material hero may be very titillating, but it is very, very risky. It's a planned danger. Now we are hearing from the acharyas that the senses actually are so strong that they can fail us at any time. And therefore, the senses have to be kept tight all the time. Because if the senses are given a loose end, anytime the senses can fail us. And therefore, Prahlad Maharaj is asking or praying very vehemently to be saved from this prison poison of family life. The problem comes when we start feeling relaxed and relieved in family concept. Problem, the purpose is including bank balance also. So when we start feeling relaxed, relieved from the grounds of family, bank balance, and so on, those concepts or that kind of little bit comfort or warm feeling which one is getting from all these subsidiary material shelters and a feeling which one is getting from all these subsidiary kind of shelters, that feeling itself is a great enemy because the senses having been activated and ignited by these feelings can voraciously demand, and in that case, fail us. That is the idea. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj is emphasizing the fact, and Srila Prabhupada is further explaining that one should live a life of bare minimum necessities. So the unnecessities can trigger the senses very badly. This goes to show that always the interface with the senses, of the senses of the sense objects for a devotee may always start on the uh, in the context of a service. Things start like that. But because the object of sense gratification is nearby, the problem is anytime the mind and the senses can go wild. This is what it means. I remember it is explained in one place about that when one keeps money hold, the very thought and awareness that money is there, the person, anytime the mind and senses can go wild. It pollutes. Basically, Bhagavatam says it pollutes the consciousness. Anytime one has the remembrance, so one just keeps money with oneself, it pollutes. And therefore, one is inviting great danger. That is why Srila Sanatana Goswami was not allowing Ishan to even carry a single foot. Because anytime there is avenue for sense gratification, the mind and senses can go wide. And therefore, a devotee should not keep any avenues. That is why Radhashyam Prabhu was saying that one should not store money for a long time. One should burn it in the fire of Sankirtan. It will pollute our consciousness.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have one question, Prabhu.
This is also true of women followers. So one should not keep people hanging around oneself too much. Better engage them in Krishna service. So much so that they don't have much time to even look at them. And we are safe.
Hare
Whether
Krishna
it is
Prabhu, I have one question, Prabhu.
whether followers. Yes, question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, am I audible, Prabhu?
Yes, bro.
Am I audible, Prabhu?
Okay, yes, bro.
Prabhu, sometimes we are having a tendency of keeping money for the sake of retirement. for the sake of retirement. So what do you, because sometimes we are having a tendency that, okay, now we can save money, it will help us later on to practice Krishna consciousness. So what about that, Prabhu?
Prabhu, can you repeat the question? I'm not able to hear.
Am I audible, Prabhu?
Now you can speak.
Prabhu, sometimes I have heard from some devotee that they are like it, so they store money for their retirement for practicing Krishna consciousness. So to what extent it is good, Prabhu, and to what extent it can pollute our consciousness?
To what extent money stored can pollute our consciousness?
Prabhu, I'm writing, Prabhu.
Yeah. To what extent the money which one stores for one's retirement can pollute one's consciousness? The easiest and the simplest and the quickest and the first of the things it does is that it creates a comfortable situation around us, which completely spoils the fervor, the urgency, and the desperation for Krishna consciousness. That is the point. As long as one has something, one will want to keep store more, and as long as one has more and more and more, there is no end to that. How much is required for security? This question has no answer. This question has no answer. How much money is required for security? This question has no answer. So, unfortunately, we see in the name of security, uh, sometimes devotees keep getting dragged on and on and on, no way out. So, therefore, it is very, very dangerous. I mean, the whole game is very dangerous, right? And that is why uh, one has to be extremely cautious. So, who can be saved? One who postpones, one who postpones uh, surrender, service to Krishna for the sake of having or amassing some security money is actually traversing a dangerous path. So one who feels that okay, let me first earn money, security, and be well grounded, whatever algorithm of grounding, uh, and then I will be available for Prabhupada's mission service. Very dangerous, very dangerous. That day will never come when one will be available for Krishna's service, because the material world will not leave us. So therefore, if we have to serve Krishna, if we want to serve Krishna, today is the day to take this. We cannot do it today, we can never do it throughout life, as a thumb rule.
Prabhu, what if one doesn't have much faith? He is a neophyte devotee, okay?
It's not a matter of faith, Prabhu. It's a matter of decision. It's a matter of evaluation. It's a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of understanding what is of value in my life. It's a matter of choosing what we want to do in our life. So when one understands the when one understands the process of Krishna consciousness, the tenets of Krishna consciousness, after that also, if the fervor for Krishna consciousness is not coming, that means one is willfully choosing oneself to be clouded. To understand the basics of Krishna consciousness, uh, 1 year, 1.5 years is sufficient. Srila Prabhupada disciples did not even take that much time to surrender their lives to Srila Prabhupada. So, so, so especially when one understands what is the goal of life, who is Krishna, what is my relationship with Krishna, what is Prabhupada's mission, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when one understands these things, then that is good enough for one to take this. The Shastras and the Acharyas are explaining that material trajectories are very risky. How much we want to explore is our choice. But the Satya and Tathya remains the same. It is very risky. Let's read further. Prabhupada is saying very clear if Krishna is demanding leaf, flower, fruit, or water, why we should eat more than that. Prabhupada is very clear in what Prabhupada is mentioning. If the attachment for material things increase, the senses will demand more and more enjoyment. And then one has to chase and feed that enjoyment. That is the main problem. Therefore, one has to keep oneself very tight on the senses. Very tight on the senses. Yat sangalabdham nijavirvaitakam Tetam mohosam sprishatam himanasam Harati ajo anta shrutibhir bhato angajam O vaina seva tamukunda vikramam By associating with persons for whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, is all in all, one can hear of his powerful activities and soon come to understand them. The activities of Mukunda are so potent, and simply by hearing of them, one immediately associates with the Lord. For a person who constantly and very eagerly hears narrations of the Lord's powerful activity, the absolute truth, the personality of God in the form of sound vibrations, enters within his heart and cleanses it of all contamination. On the other hand, although bathing in the Ganges diminishes bodily contaminations and infections, this process and the process of visiting holy places can cleanse the heart only after a long time. Therefore, who is the sane man who will not associate with devotees to quickly perfect his life? But bathing in the Ganges can certainly cure one of many infectious diseases, but it cannot cleanse one's materially attached mind, which creates all kinds of contaminations in the material life. However, one who directly associates with the Supreme Lord by hearing of his activities cleanses the dirt from his mind and very soon comes to Krishna consciousness. Sutta Goswami confirms this in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:17. Shilvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto hi abhadran Vidunoti Sukhsata. The Supreme Lord within everyone's heart becomes very pleased when a person hears narration of his activities and he personally cleanses the dirt from the mind of the listener. Hridi antastho hi abhadrani vidunoti. He washes off all the dirt from the mind. Material existence is caused by dirty things within the mind. If one can cleanse his mind, he immediately comes to his original position of Krishna consciousness. And thus his life becomes successful. Therefore, all the great saints in the devotional line very strongly recommend the process of hearing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra to give everyone a chance to hear Krishna's holy name. Or simply by hearing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. One becomes purified, Cheto Darpan Marjana. Thus, our Krishna consciousness movement is chiefly engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra all over the world. After one's mind becomes cleansed by chanting the Hare Krishna, one gradually comes to the point of Krishna consciousness and then reads books like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion. In this way, one becomes more and more purified of material contamination. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1 to 18, Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavatase Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhavati Naishtati. By regularly hearing the Bhagavatam and rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is practically destroyed, and loving service unto the glorious Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. In this way, hearing of the powerful activities of the Lord, the devotee's heart becomes almost completely cleansed of material contamination. And thus his original position as an eternal servant, who is part and parcel of the Lord, becomes manifest. While the devotee engages in devotional service, the passionate and ignorant modes of material nature are gradually vanquished, and then he acts only in the mode of goodness. At the time he becomes happy and gradually advances in Krishna consciousness. All the great acharyas strongly recommend that people be given a chance to hear about the Supreme Lord. Then success is assured. The more we cleanse the dirt of the material attachment from our hearts, the more we will be attracted by Krishna's many form, qualities, paraphernalia, and activities. That is the sum and substance of the Krishna consciousness movement. Srila Prahlad Maharaj is here praying for the association of the devotees, for whom Krishna is all in all. This goes to show that only attachments to the devotees can wipe off material attachments, material desires. Only when one's life starts revolving around the devotees for whom Krishna is all in all, that will cut the knots of material attachments. That will purify us and uproot us. So material attachment means getting rooted, and attachment to devotee means getting uprooted. And Srila Naradamani, as a small boy, the maid servant, child, as a small little child, not the boy, when he got the association of the Bhaktivedantas, which only lasted for 4 months. But in 4 months, the small boy's life was revolving around the Bhaktivedantas. Day and night, he had no other consideration other than the Bhaktivedantas. And because, so from morning to night, life was revolving around Bhaktivedanta. And what is the philosophy of that? He got so much soaked with spiritual substance. And that momentum was good enough for him to perfect his life. Even in the face of great tribulating adversity, which befell upon him in the form of his mother's death. So there is a need to revolve our life around those devotees who are serious and for whom Krishna consciousness is all in all. As Srila Prahlad Maharaj specified. Devotees are many, but the point is for whom Krishna consciousness is all in all. And we hear from them, and the more we hear from them, and the more our mind and senses and all faculties revolve around that approach. For many of Srila Prabhupada disciples, Srila Prabhupada was all in all for their lives. They were not thinking of anything else and anyone else. And that sure enough uplifted their consciousness to such a profuse level. So we see that we are at a stage of time when all the Srila Prabhupada disciples, they're in the mode of sharing with all of us whatever they have taught. We see all of them in that very merciful mode. And the more we can come forward and make ourselves available to grasp it and get, that will approve those kind of material attachments, which by our own endeavors are practically impossible. So that is why Prahlad Maharaj is asking, seeking for this association. So Prabhupada is explaining this is the quickest way of purifying our material desires. The quickest way of purifying. So let's read further. Yasyasya bhakti bhagavati yakinchana sarve guneshtatra samasate sura paravabhaktasya kuto guna madodadena sakitavato bhagi. All the demigods in their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unallied devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities and such. Perfect. As explained in the next verse, Krishna is the original source of all the living entities. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15:7, where Krishna says, Amevakshu Jivadute Jivabhuta Sanatana Manashashtaram Indriyan Prakriti Sthani Kashyati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. All the living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. And therefore, when they revive their original Krishna consciousness, they possess all the good qualities of Krishna in a small quantity. When one engages himself in the nine processes of devotion and service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam, one's heart becomes purified and he immediately understands his relationship with Krishna. He then revives his original quality of Krishna consciousness. In the Adi Lila of Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 8, there is a description of some of the qualities of devotees. For example, Shri Pandit Haridas is described as being very well behaved, tolerant, peaceful, magnanimous, and great. In addition, he spoke very sweetly. His endeavors were very pleasing. He was always patient. He respected everyone. He always worked for everyone's benefit. His mind was free from duplicity. He was completely devoid of all malicious activity. These are all originally qualities of Krishna. And when one becomes a devotee, then they automatically become manifest. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says that all the good qualities become manifest in the body of a Vaishnava. And that only by the presence of all these good qualities can one distinguish a Vaishnava from a non-Vaishnava. Krishnadas Kaviraj lists the following 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. He is very kind to everyone. He does not make anyone his enemy. He is truthful. He is equal to everyone. No one can find fault in him. He is magnanimous. He is mild. He is always clean. He is without possessions. He works for everyone's benefit. He is very peaceful. He is always surrendered to Krishna. He has no material desires. He is very meek. He is steady. He controls his senses. He does not eat more than required. He is not influenced by the laws immediately. He offers respect to everyone. He does not desire any respect for himself. He is very great. He's, he's friendly. He's poetic. He's expert. He's silent. We can learn from here that transformation is a very basic fabric of the practice of Krishna consciousness. So the sincere practice of Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada is explaining all these divine qualities become manifest. In fact, by these divine qualities, is the devotee is known by these divine. They become the natural characteristic pattern of the devotee. But these are originally qualities of Krishna. These original qualities of Krishna in a devotee's heart or in his behavior. Right, when there is this manifestation of these divine qualities, that is what paves the way for a devotee, attracts the heart of the non-devotee. Many times, you say, Prabhupada explained that in this world everyone is envious of everyone else. So in general, no one is able to tolerate any other person. That's the nature of this material world. Because everyone is envious of everyone else. Now the point is that only when one starts exhibiting these divine qualities, then others stop seeing such a sincere devotee as one's competitor, as a blockage in their sensitivity. That relieves one from the experience of all kinds of tribulations. Tribulations come when people, so when people see us as a competitor, they're envious. But when they see these divine qualities being manifested, but then they understand, okay, what to envy this person? This person is not in my different varieties for them. So then they are not at all envious. So that's the hallmark of a devotee. So just by their presence, you see that the all the impurities they melt away actually. So that is why you see the nature of a great soul is that to churn out and bring out the goodness in your hearts. The nature of great souls. Because in their personality, these qualities are manifest, we can get so many answers just by uh, being. You see how it is being explained. One of the qualities is called as Dakshata, expertise, and the one is meek, always very meek. How can one be meek and Daksha at the same time? This is the devotee. Yes. Very meek, very much. This is the quality of it. So Krishna consciousness makes us mind. Material desire makes us wild. That's all I can say. So we are wild when there is much sense. Krishna consciousness, we are mind.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu, here it is mentioned he is very grave and he is also expert. So, in what context,
Because,
Prabhu, one is grave?
yes.
He doesn't entertain any kind of non-Krishna conscious talk. Yes, that is what grave is all about.
Once again,
Here it is mentioned he is grave and he is expert. So what does that grave mean here, Prabhu? Does that mean that he doesn't entertain non-Krishna conscious talk or expert? He is expert in bringing people to Krishna. Is this is what it means, Prabhu?
yeah, expert means he's expert in serving Krishna. He knows the heart of Krishna. So we say Nikunja you know Ratikiri Siddhe, Yaya Lipi, Atradi Daksha. There also it says expert. Atradi Daksha, Rativallabhasya, Vande Guru. He knows the heart of the intimate servant of the Krishna. And therefore he knows the heart of Krishna. So therefore he is very expert in pleasing Krishna because he knows the heart of Krishna, he knows the inner desire of Krishna. That is the expertise. And so he knows the heart of Krishna.
Prabhu, grave is also mentioned here. What is it?
Yes,
Grave and silent.
grave and
Silent.
silent. Yes, grave and silent. Yeah, so grave and silent. Yeah, so devotees quality, one of the qualities for devotees is grave. So grave means does not participate of uh, the frivolousness of this matter. So he's not casual, he's not frivolous. Because he has that Krishna conscious substance. Just by going near this devotee, we will start feeling the seriousness of Krishna consciousness. So it's not frivolous. We start feeling, so that is what is gravity, is great. Nothing can shake him from his focus. He has that Krishna conscious substance, unshakable, great. Then it said he's silent. Silent means that the devotees are not generally interested in exhibiting their Krishna conscious prowess. They're not at all interested. They're just interested in going on serving. So that's the meaning of silent. They may not make an ostentatious display of the services there. So if we don't want to catch it, we will very easily miss what they are doing because they never make a show. That's the meaning of silent. The second aspect is that they do not respond to any material signal or provocation. They're silent, no response. Any proposal of material energy, there is no response. Silent, no response. That's another important thing. So as we develop more and more attachment to the devotees of the Lord, we will see that these qualities start manifesting in the personality of a devotee. So, like Radha Shambhu was explaining, Are a devote, that a person attracted to material things? How does the change come about? His life gets a turning point when at least one develops attraction for at least one devotee, the spiritual master. If one starts prioritizing, okay, if it is coming from spiritual master, then yes, I have to, whether I like it or not, whatever, I need to accept. So that means that the progress in devotional service is starting. But as it goes, when we start developing the same kind of attraction for all the God brothers in the spiritual master, that means it's progress. And then as time progresses, and one starts developing attraction, not only for Guru's God brothers, but one's own God brothers. So that means one is advanced. So when one feels attraction for one's own God brothers, attraction means deep sense of respect, appreciation, servitude as a meaning. But let's read further. हरे साक्षात् भगवन् भगवान् शरीर आत्मा झासनम जीवतोयम इप्सिता विद्वामहंस्तं यदि सज्जते गृहे तदा महत्त्वम् वयसा दंपतीना just as aquatics always desire to remain the vast mass of water, all the conditioned living entities naturally desire to remain in the vast existence of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, if someone very great by material calculations fails to take shelter of the Supreme Soul, but instead becomes attached to material household life, his greatness is like that of a young, low-class couple. One who is too attached to material life loses all good spiritual. But although crocodiles are very fierce animals, they are powerless when they venture out of water onto the land. When they are out of water, they cannot exhibit their original power. Similarly, the all-pervading super Paramatma is the source of all the living entities. And all the living entities are part and parcel of him. When the living entity comes in contact with the all-pervading Masudev, the personality of God, he manifests his spiritual power exactly as the crocodile exhibits its strength in the water. In other words, the greatness of the living entity can be perceived when he is in the spiritual world, engaged in spiritual activity. So many householders, although well educated in the knowledge of the Vedas, become attached to family. They are compared herein to crocodiles out of water, or they are devoid of all the spiritual strength. The greatness is like that of a young husband and wife who, though uneducated, praise one another and become attached to their own temporary beauty. This kind of greatness is appreciated by low class men with no qualification. Yeah, yeah. So that'll be pretty much like the camel and the donkey story by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Pretty much, they go on appreciating each other and become attached to each other. Camel and the donkey. Camel and the donkey. Camel and the donkey. The donkey is telling the camel, "What a beauty!" The camel is telling the donkey, "What a voice!" This is parasparam appreciation to remain eternally infatuated and illusion. That is the point. Now, this analogy is a perfect fit because women are weak of hearing and man is weak of sight. So, what a beauty and what a sound. Fits it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
There's no- Yes.
Prabhuji, I have heard this couple of times that weak in sight and hearing. So what does that actually mean? Like, I'm not able to
Yes,
understand.
Prabhu?
So I have heard this, like women are weak of hearing and men are weak of sight. I heard this couple of times, but I'm not able to understand what this actually means, Prabhu. If you can help me understand it.
What it actually means.
What does that actually mean? Like,
Yeah, so it means that in front of a man, any good looking lady will come, immediately the man becomes agitated. So even any normal lady will also look very attractive to a man. So if any woman has femtoscale beauty also, to a human being it appears to be terascale, like that. To a man it appears to be terascale. Like, and woman, if anybody appreciates them, they very easily put their faith in that person. Like that. That is what it means, basically. So, so this sight is weak. The sense is weak. So therefore, one has to be very careful. We have to be very careful. So that is why one should sufficiently see the beauty of the Lord by taking darshan of the deities. And the more one hears from the devotees who really have love for Krishna and the spiritual master and the previous acharyas, when we hear from them, and so they give us the vision, and then by that hearing, when we see the beauty of the Lord appears more beautiful. Not the Lord appears more beautiful. The Lord appear no, that reveals. I mean, one gets the vision to. I mean, the Lord reveals His beauty even more. So one is captivated by that. So unless this happens, then it's difficult to restrain oneself from the material. That is the point. So basically, the living entity is prone to succumb to illusion. And this beauty or glorification is illusion. What to say, a woman? Even if somebody glorifies us, we also feel very nice. Somebody tells us, "Oh, very nice devotee. You do a nice book distribution." You know, or you give a very nice lecture. Immediately become very happy. You know, like that. So, how much distribution, book distribution we are doing in a year? You know? No record. No? I mean, like that. How many people will make devotees per year? So many times devotees speak to us and they may encourage us in this, but we may tend to get public. So the senses are very strong. Actually. Therefore, one has to always connect to a great devotee and be attached to a great devotee and hold on to a great devotee, so that one can be exposed to oneself. We don't see and understand the life of great devotees, uh, more dedicated devotees, then one will very easily feel that I am doing too much. Like that. So, great souls are feeling that not they are not able to do much for Krishna, but many times neophytes feel that they are doing everything for Krishna. So that discrepancy shows our diseased condition. So therefore, he's saying that when we are not in connection to Krishna, our real power is diminished like crocodiles out of water. So everyone should therefore seek the shelter of the Supreme, the source of all the living entity. No one should waste his time in so-called happiness of materialistic household life. In a very civilization, this type of crippled life is allowed only till 150th year, when one must give up family life and enter the order of Vanaprastha, independent, retired life for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. Or sannyas, the renounced order, in which one completely takes shelter of the Supreme Personality. Yeah. So Prabhupada is very clear what Srila Prabhupada wants to give us. The Shastras are very clear. No one should waste his time on the so-called happiness, materialistic household. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So, so we should seek shelter of Krishna. Seek shelter of Krishna. But we can see that we should seek shelter of Krishna in any situation, in every situation. Just like Srila Prabhupada disciples, in every situation, they bring Srila Prabhupada, they bring Srila Prabhupada and what Srila Prabhupada said and what Srila Prabhupada did. And then they are so excited when they do that because that's the meaning every time, the connection to Krishna, the dependence to Krishna. That's the hallmark of the good. Let's read further. Yes. So you see the difference is a materialistic person, whatever he or she does, gets lost immediately into the oblivion. It does not remain. Nobody, it does not remain. But devotee, whatever a devotee does, it remains, it sustains. That is the point. So, a materialist may do great things. Like suppose the materialist earns great amount of money, but the rate at which a person earns money, the rate at which the money gets lost also, and spent also. So ultimately, nothing remains. A materialistic person may do many kinds of activities. Like people create a world record. But within their lifetime, the record will be broken. Like that. People make big bodies. Within their own lifetime, that body will also get broken in front of their own eyes. They cannot help it. So, every such thing, a materialist puts great endeavors. Say in raising a family, the family members are not even the least grateful. That's material life, actually. This is how material life is. It's, nothing remains. Nothing remains. So there is no sense of any greatness because these Vaishnav qualities are not there. That means material desires are there, vices are there, and those vices and material desires are like perforation. So whatever is amassed, it flows off, gets wasted. But for a devotee, the Vaishnav qualities are there, and nothing gets wasted. So therefore, every contribution is eternal contribution. So this is the point which we have to understand. Without these rights, without these spiritual qualities, there is no power, there is no strength, nothing will sustain. Okay, text 14. तस्माद्रजो रागविषमन्यो मनस्पृहा भेदैन्यादिमूल हित्वा गृहं संसृतिं चक्रवालम् नरसिंहपदं भजता कुतो भयमिति Therefore, O demons, give up the so-called happiness of family life and simply take shelter of the lotus feet of God Narasimha. Which are the actual shelter of the fearless. Entanglement in the family life is the root cause of material attachment, indefatigable desires, moroseness, anger, despair, fear, and the desire for false prestige, all of which result in the repetition of birth and death. Ego. The fearlessness is provided by taking shelter. And fearlessness comes when one takes shelter of Lord Narasimha. So Prahlad is saying, in time of the family life, the root cause of material attachment, indefatigable desire, moroseness, and despair, fear, desire for false prestige. And all of that ensures the repetition. A devotee accepts the family of Krishna. So devotee, she's everything empty as heart to heart, one parcel of the Supreme Lord. And therefore a devotee earnestly and sincerely wants to help connect to Krishna. So there is family life in the spiritual world. But what if the disease situation is a self-created, self-centered concept of family? That's a disease situation. Let's not be interpreted. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one question, Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu, the question that you have mentioned in the the text 10, Radhesham Prabhu says that we should not hold money for a long time, Prabhu. But Prabhu, मेरे को
Yes.
एक doubt है इसमें. If anybody is saying that, okay, I'm not that advanced in Krishna consciousness, I don't have faith in Krishna consciousness that much, but still I want to practice Krishna consciousness, it should be a healthy step. Let me hold some money for my future, and then I will practice Krishna
I'm
consciousness
not
next.
advanced enough. Then what?
So let me not take jump directly to the level of surrender. Let me progress little. So therefore, I'm holding some money for my future use. I will take Vanaprastha and then I will take something from there and I will practice and it will be helpful in that way. So what is the opinion of yours? So I want to understand. Like, I'm not able to understand this. So if you can make it to me.
Okay, somebody says that, okay, I'm not advanced, I don't have faith in Krishna, I'm earning money, I'm keeping for myself. What is wrong in that? That's what you're
Yeah,
asking.
that's true.
So, see, the Shastras are encouraging those who have the goal in their mind to go back to God. If one doesn't want to go back to God, then it's a different story. Then they can do whatever they like. That's fine. This instruction of Prahlad Maharaj is not valid for materialistic people. He is encouraging them to accept that goal. But one who doesn't accept that goal, then they can do whatever they like. That's fine. If at all they are able to create some nanoparticle space for Krishna, then that nanoparticle space for Krishna will save them and come to their good benefit. Like that. So that is the point. But for one who wants to go back to Godhead, so such a person should not waste his time. That is the point. So, so we should know what we are aiming at and accordingly act. That. So for those who are serious, Lord Maharaj is giving straight instructions. Prabhupada is giving straight instructions. If somebody doesn't want to accept Krishna, then that is fine. Whatever they are able to do for Krishna, they will get the mercy of the Lord and the devotees, and the Acharya, proportionate. It will create auspiciousness in their lives. That is the point. So, that is the whole point.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Very good.